Good evening and welcome to you one and all to this important workshop or meeting on a very important topic hosted by the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association and the J3, just to help you to understand the World Athletics Coaching Education Certification System and the changes that have been implemented and what does it mean for you as a coach and as someone who is practicing in the field. This is very recent, the changes that have been made, and based on what has been going on and based on where we want to take the sport, it's very important that we get a full understanding as to what the main issues are so that we can function effectively as coaches in the industry. So I want to welcome you on behalf of the executive of the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association. And I see quite a few of our executive members on, and we are looking forward to a good time together today. So let me just share with you the agenda so that we are fully understanding as to what we'll be doing today. So, are you seeing that? No, you're not. Let me see what's going on here. Let's start again. Let me just share this again for you so that you see where we're at. Not sure why it's not sharing. Just take it. So we're just having a little challenge here with this. All right, so pretty much we have online with us the president of the Jamaican Athletic Administrative
coming up on my screen.
Mr. Gale.
Oh,
Garth
yes,
Gale.
but you
Mr. Gale, we're hearing you.
Yes, yes.
Right.
Right, but I was letting you know that I couldn't hear you. It wasn't clear in the latter part of what you were saying. But you would have spoken to the agenda that you would have put on screen, but then we didn't see that. So I was just letting you know if others may have had the same challenge that I was having. But you seem that your line is now clear because I can see your movement easily without any slur in your voice.
All right, good evening, Mr. Gale. Good evening, Mr. Riley. What you probably need to do, sir, is to close your camera because sometimes that affects the bandwidth and therefore affects how the communication was relayed because you were distorted not too long ago. We weren't able to hear you at all.
Okay. All right, so
there you go.
On screen we have the agenda, and I'm not seeing Megan on. Megan, okay, she's on. I'm going to ask her to just go ahead and open in prayer for us. Megan?
Good night, everyone. Let us agree in prayer. Heavenly Father, as we do come before your presence, we just want to give you thanks for giving us this opportunity to meet as a coaching body to discuss matters pertaining to our educational background where coaching is concerned. Father, whatever is being done tonight, Lord Jesus, we're asking, Lord Jesus, to just help us to grasp on what is to be learned. Take full control right now, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We have with us, as I mentioned earlier, Mr. Garth Gale, president of the J3A, and we have also from World Athletics, Mr. Ralph Mushbahani. He will be sharing with us as well. But let me just hand over to Mr. Gale, who will give us general remarks.
No, good.
Yeah, Mr.
Good
Gale.
night, members.
Yeah, before you go, as a point of order, David, can you make somebody the co-host? So in case you fall off, it will go to that person.
All right, you're a co-host, man.
Okay.
Can I continue now, David?
Sure.
Thank you. Once again, good night, ladies and gentlemen, special guests of the World Athletics and coaches. We are at a pivotal point in our World Athletics Coaches Certification Program. My memory go back to the earlier days when the late Amadea Francis, president of NACAC, would have had the training center in Puerto Rico. And so many Jamaicans, as well as others from the NACAC region, would journey to Puerto Rico for the various training, both as technical officials as well as coaches. So both of the coaches and the technical official programs were run and managed out of the RDC Center in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I now move from and come to present. And it is very interesting to note the changes that has taken place over these many years. And I must say that it is a change I do welcome, because myself, having been trained several times as a World Athletics technical official, I would have done several of the programs, and now to see this new format of the training of or coaching. The J3 has entered an agreement with the track and field to execute such an important training program. We therefore give full support to the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association. And as I would have indicated, we have long recognized the importance of coaches in the development of track and field in Jamaica. It is you, the coaches, that unearth competition levels that we have here in Jamaica, the primary, into the secondary, tertiary, and also into the elite and advanced training programs. Coaches are the ones, as I said, would have identified these athletes. And it's in no way and in no means that we recognize and work along with the Coaches Association of Jamaica. And so this new program that has been restarted by World Athletics has several new facets to it. And I'm sure, coaches, that you will come to understand and recognize these are all about making you better individuals to produce top-class athletes, as we are well known in the world. And so we're happy tonight to welcome Ralph from World Athletics. And he will speak more to the new initiatives of this new program being put out by World Athletics. Under the new system, we have now seen or have the benefit of two of our stalwart coaches who are now World Athletics lecturers in Mr. Roy Thomas and Mr. David Riley, your own president. Congratulations to both gentlemen. Mr. Thomas will conduct sprints and hurdles as well as throws, while David will be doing sprints, hurdles, and jumps. We look to extend the number of lecturers in the very near future that will work with the NACAC group and with NACAC region. Of note, that the recent training by NACAC under the auspices also on management of World Athletics, 9 lecturers were trained, and 2 of the 9 were our Jamaicans, Mr. Roy Thomas and our own David Riley. Therefore, level 1 certification, which has begun in earlier this year in February, have certified 25 new coaches thus far. Another batch will be assessed as of November 15 in Kingston, Jamaica. Already, we have seen 10 local assessors that have been appointed to assess and give assistance in this level 1 certification program. The level 2 includes a 6-day interaction with World Athletics instructors on the technical models, fall correction, and practical assessments. An assessment is done at the end of the 6 weeks program, and candidates will be sitting a written and oral examinations to see how they fare, whether they are successful or not. We are aiming to do our best, and we would ensure that at the end, we will have a lot more certified and qualified coaches in Jamaica, because it's not only for our athletes, juniors and seniors to do well, but we want to ensure that we also is well renowned for the accomplishments of our coaches. So starting January 2025, coaches licensing program will be issued by the JATAFCA and JATAFCA. And this is the renewal of the license requirement, which will ensure that our coaches not only perform at their best with the athletes, but also to ensure a continuous program of development. Coach Riley will give further details on this later this afternoon. And this move is to professionalize our coaching in the Jamaican situation. Individuals who are serious about this profession will therefore then have to invest and ensure that they become better and more certified as they continue in the craft of coaching. The level 2 certification for other disciplines will also be conducted. Throws, middle and long distance, and race walking as well. All these will be explored at a later date, and again, you will hear more through your president, Mr. David Riley. As of September 15, 2024, 112 Jamaican coaches have completed the online CECS program. However, only 25 have completed the assignments. And if you don't complete the assignment, or assessment rather, then you won't be fully certified. So we look forward to the other coaches to ensure that they complete the program, and so that they will become fully certified. Coaches, we implore you to continue to play your part, continue to be involved in the Coaches Association, so that you can benefit from all the programs that they will be undertaken throughout the years to come. Under my leadership, the J3As continue and will give full support to the development of our coaches going forward. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Gill, for your remarks and for outlining a very important part of why we're here tonight and the partnership with the J3 and the Jamaica JATAFCA Coaches Association in bringing forth this certification program to our local coaches. We have the pleasure of having from World Athletics, Ralph, I can call him Ralph, and he actually is a very experienced and knowledgeable individual who's been serving as a coach and also as a lecturer, helping coaches and athletes to reach their potential and bringing athletes and coaches back on the success track and having a very long career as a consultant and also as a coach. Ralph, of course, also co-founded Excellence on Track from experiences with strength and all the work that he's done with sports systems and federations. He's also decided to help closing the gap by addressing the problems and address the updating and continuous education of coaches and the structures and systems to gain the competitive edge. And of course, he comes to us in Germany, and it's 2:30 in the morning. No, we're what is that? So we actually interrupted his sleep to come and bring this information to us. So it's my pleasure to hand over to Ralph as he takes us through the next part of our program. Ralph?
Thank you, David. I hope that you can hear me. Ladies and gentlemen, great. Thank you for the introduction. I hope that I don't sound too sleepy, but I think it will work out. Yes, well, thank you for these kind words, David. And it's my honor and it's my pleasure to be here with you and to hopefully can enlighten you a little bit on the changes which World Athletics has undergone with that coaches education system. And I'll do a small comparison so that but it was already done by Garth has already slightly outlined where we started. And then I'll just show you where we are today and what this might have as an implication for federations. I will share the screen straight away so we don't have, so that at least you can see. Can you is my screen shared already?
No, it's not shared yet.
Strange. Okay, now. It's now sharing, right?
Yes, yes.
All right, so where have we come from? It was already said. We started back that program in 1989. So you can see how long I've been already involved with that whole coaches education and certification system. I'm one of the only ones remaining, which were there from the beginning. Hence, I can give you a small overview. The reason why and what basically we wanted right from the beginning is to create, and it was due to the fact that many federations, or let me start differently, 75% of the federations which are affiliated to World Athletics, then called IAAF, come from either emerging or developing countries, meaning that they don't have a proper structure in their coaches education. So World Athletics, IAAF then decided to launch a coaches education and certification system to allow as well countries who do not have structures in place to be able to train coaches, to educate coaches so that they can be up to date and help develop athletics around the world. these were the long-term goals expressed then, which are still valid. After we should have done this basically earlier, but after about a decade, and Garth mentioned Amadeus Francis was one of the key figures. There were some others as well from the NACAC area and others from other parts of the world, who as well helped us in a sense understand what do coaches need, what is the need of in such a structure which has to be around the world, basically across the world, a program which doesn't make it easy, as you can understand, because you've got different backgrounds, different needs, different problems. So this review, which we have done after a decade, showed us that obviously we were on the right track, but it could have been, or it could go better. So the reason what we wanted, this initial intention to coach or to educate coaches who are able to coach in their own environment, in their proper environment, and use basically a course as a backup for them so that they know where they are well oriented to know how the journey will go. So I will go through these different structures while talking and then explain what has changed, and then come to a conclusion about what are probably the future challenges we're facing and what might change. So this is the old system, which you see there. It was based on 5 levels. Oops, sorry. That was too fast. On 5 levels. So you see here, there was this kids athletics part, then came a level 1, a level 2. We had then a level 3, which never was really launched properly. And then we had an academy. All of it were all good ideas and good intentions. The qualification were these certificates issued. The courses had different durations. Some of them were saying they're long. So others were saying they're not long enough. We need more. Anyway, the result of this research, which was done in a PhD, showed us that no matter what the needs and the requests were, we did not meet basically our first intention to help coaches develop athletics. Or the outcome was too little. We would have loved to see that there was a bigger impact. So over the years, and now fast forward, back in 2018, 2017, the department had then already changed. We had new directors, we had new responsible people in charge of the program. The whole setup of World Athletics had changed with Sebastian Coe coming in 2015, and putting basically the responsibility from the so-called Regional Development Center, which Garth mentioned, were then changed into area development centers, and the whole development money was then given into their responsibility. That means Monaco was not managing anymore everything from their headquarters in Monaco, but rather it was now the responsibility of these areas to take care of their own needs, with the intention again that every area has different needs, might have different requirements, and coaches might even be differently set up and so that we can maybe help us, that this coaches education will help athletics to develop further in all the areas of the world. So where are we now? So what did we do? What did we change? I think what is very important is that we hoped that we could go to a way to educate coaches in such a way to first understand the why. So excuse me now the way I would be expressing it, but we had the impression that at the beginning, though it was not a bad program, the content was not bad, but the way we delivered it did not get the result we wanted. So we had the impression that we were more or less dumping knowledge on coaches and then left them with that knowledge and see what will happen. So the new program or the new materials now are way more oriented into the application of this knowledge to understand the why, and then the coaches can, in their own capacity, with their own philosophy, with their own needs in the areas, apply this knowledge, and hopefully then will get even better results than they had before. And I chose now here a small statement which Albert Einstein said, and this is what we hope that we manage. As Albert Einstein said once, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you didn't understand it yourself. So we simplified the material into such a way, without doing mistakes, is to understand the content, to understand the why, and hence then try to leave the coaches and to hope that coaches will be in a better position to transfer that knowledge into what is needed. So if we go one step further, and I won't take too much of your time, is, as I said, designed in 1990. It was important to get maybe knowledge, to understand what it is all about. But at the same time, we had, as I said, slightly difficulties, or coaches had slight difficulties to apply knowledge into what they needed and what they were doing. So the new level 1 now, or the current content, addresses this introduction into athletics, this younger coaches, same mission, same vision. But unfortunately, now I have to say, unfortunately, this course is delivered purely online, which causes a certain problem. Federations are now in a position that in order to maintain an overview about who has done the level 1 coach, because coaches can now, as you can imagine, online, sideline the federation, register, do the online course, and then they have already a certification or an attestation that they have undergone a level 1. Where the problem comes is that this level 1 is done online. So there is little practice, if any. That means everything is done in theory, but nothing is applied to the ground. We editors try to resist this as long as possible, but obviously, for whatever reason, World Athletics decided to have it that way because they were believing that we are giving a bigger chance to coaches to be able to attend and not a limited number. So now they have put the association into responsibility to basically have a second part, a practice part, to their own environment. That means you can now decide how you want to have this second part. And this second part has then to be certified by the federations, by a mentor, by an accredited lecturer, that you have undergone that second part, which is practice related, in order to achieve or to get your full certification of the level 1. This is now makes it then again for federations easier to get an overview and to understand who has done this level 1 online and whether they are interested and involved into athletics. And as I've seen, you're already a great step ahead, that you have already a coaches association which is in charge, working closely with the federation to deliver this educational system. So this second part of the level 1 is up to the federations. There is a recommendation so World Athletics will not interfere, which is based or should be based on practice. That means on those who might know the old system, on these teaching progressions. You can then have an exam, a practical exam, and you pass that one as well. Then you've got your level 1 certification. This is then certified on a sheet, which will then say that you have undergone that second part. This will go back to World Athletics, and World Athletics will then issue to the participants the certification of the level 1. I will leave it. I'll just continue now, and I think David, would you want to allow questions now to make it easier, or do you want it at the end?
We could do the questions at the end.
Okay. So then comes now the level 2. So as said, the level 1 is a pure online course. Federations are now in charge of delivering that second part with lecturers or with mentors. That second part as well, in theory, assumingly, this coach didn't have a certification, but is coaching since decades, to take the utmost example, and has delivered already on an under 20 level, even maybe on a senior level, whatever, but had no certification, did now his online course, passed the online course, and now he needs that second part. So as a federation, you have the autonomy and the power of decision of saying, I know that this coach, we know that this coach is coaching, we know he has been sincere delivering, and you can then recommend or testify by signing that confirmation that this coach is coaching, and then he doesn't need to undergo that practical part. So you've got all options basically from a course, which might be a 2 or 3 days course where you introduce these teaching progressions. That means the practical part of the theory, or by purely confirming that the coach is a coach, is coaching, but is just catching up, so to speak, with his education, and he wants to be part of the Coaches Association, and one of the recommendations is to be a certified coach. So hence he undergoes the level 1 and gets then his certification because he has been already coaching and is now a certified coach. So you don't have the problem that you purely always operate by exemption or by this fact that you allow people, again, without a coaching certification to be into coaching. Why is it so important to have a certification system? Is that at least coaching is getting, and hopefully is getting better and better. That means you are creating job opportunities. And like anywhere in any job of the world, if I can pretend that I'm a coach, I make my living out of coaching, at least I should have a small reference that I am up to the level of coaching. That means up to the level of being able to execute that job. Level 2 is then addressing the under 20, that critical phase where you transition from the under 20 into the senior age category, and where performance starts getting more and more interesting. That means the knowledge you've got now is even more important to transfer into that coaching, is because it's not about what you do, it's about how you do it, and what do you know, the reasons you do it, why did you choose to go into certain regimes, programs, into certain chosen exercises. That means to understand why do I have to do something in order to unlock potential or to initiate development. So this level 2 now, from previously 10 days course, has been reduced to a 6 days course, because the first part, the general part, the general theory part is done online, and only after having successfully completed that online part, the general part, you are then invited to the residential practical part 2 of this level 2, which is then run over 6 days, where you are introduced into the application, so to speak, of the theory and the specific theory. So it's based on 2/3 practice and maybe 1/3 theory, where you then only apply the that theoretical knowledge and get into the specificities of certain events. And this is when you then have the event groups, the jumps, the sprints and hurdles, the throws, the middle long distance, and the combined events. So going into one of these, and what I need to say before I continue is we have removed this eligibility. Why? Is because many coaches sometimes just need a bit of more time to get into their coaching for several reasons. I won't go into all the details. And hence sometimes having passed the course but not being eligible to go for the next course might cause a problem. So we said, as long as you pass the course, it's up to you and your federation to have that continuous professional development and hence give you the opportunity to mature as a coach as well. And if needed, you need the next level because you are moving with your athlete into the next age category, into the next challenge. And then you might need a level 2 so that you're again up to date, but you're not basically stopped from the beginning in having had a course, have successfully completed the course, but then don't have that to continue with the level 2. So this has been removed. So everybody who is basically successfully completing a course is eligible for the next one if needed. That is the next change we did. That means you have this vertical development in your certification. I'm a level 1 coach, but I need that continuous development, or I'm a level 2 coach, or I'm now even moving into level 2, and I have again that vertical development. I want to become a good level 2 coach, but this is where I will remain with that age category under 20, and I might not need a third level. I just need to get better and better in what I do. So having said this again, so in the level 2, you've got basically the event groups and the courses over 6 days in the event groups. I will tell you afterwards a bit some details about this level 2. That means in the level 2 practical part, you will then have no more a written exam because you've done it already online on the general part, and you will then be based again onto this applied knowledge, examined in microcycle planning and a questionnaire or questions, oral exam related to the practical application. That means not so much what do you know, is what have you understood. So all these questions are related again to the planning, again to the course. What have you understood? What is the takeaway of the course you have understood in order then to be able to apply what you have learned? Still working on it, and the sprints and hurdles might be the first event group to do a pilot. Comes the level 3, which is then targeting the high performance level. And now I will then go into the details shortly. So let me now get first this first 2 parts. So as said, the first part is introduction into this athletics with these online units, and then the practical mentor or mentee phase with the documentation or with the confirmation of your practical assessment, which is then left to the federations to put into practice as they believe is correct. So either it is, as I said, a 2 or 3 day workshop with these formally called or formally in the course included teaching progressions, or because I'm a coach, the mentor just comes, makes sure that, yes, I am coaching, yes, I am permanently daily doing whatever I have to do. And then after a certain period of time, confirms that I've done, or I am a coach, I am an actively coaching coach, excuse me, and then confirms, or number 3, as I said, I am known because I'm already a coach, and I've produced a huge athletes catching up only with my education system. So basically, after having done and passed the theory online course, I get straight away that confirmation. But it's up to the federation to take that decision. All right. So this practical work, which is then complementary to the pure online, puts back the federations into responsibility and into maintaining an overview about the coaches' situation in their country, and basically who has a licensing system, who has a license, and then can come into that coaches, as you have it now, into that coaching scene, and be then recognized as an official coach in the country. The level 2, as I said, is anything which has to do with this development into performance or unlocking performance in preparation of the senior age category group. The structure is, as I said, you've got these online theory models, which you have to complete, where you've got these on-site courses with the specific theory, the planning, the practical, that means this application of the knowledge, and the planning is then the key plus the practical. That means, what do I do? Why do I choose exercises? Are these exercises which I've chosen appropriate? Do they fix the problem? All right. So somebody has a big sprints and hurdles. Somebody is struggling with a start since ages, whatever. And now what to do? How to solve that? Is it I Google what exercise exists, or I analyze quickly and say, okay, where is the problem? What did I understand? What exercise do exist to fix that problem? And then go and pick the right exercises for this situation, for this problem, to solve the deadlock I'm in. Okay, so this deeper understanding of the why is key to the level 2, and then this out of the understanding and fixing the problem, getting into that training planning and into load, intensity, volume, density of training sessions, and so on and so forth, in order to then prepare that high performance aspect. These are the 10 modules, which basically you can do online. So you register as a coach, you get the access code, passport, in order to be able to access this education system. You go through these 10 modules. Every time you finish the modules, you've got like a little exam, questions, you answer them correctly, you get that green confirmation, that book, and that you completed that module. Then you can go to the next one, or if you don't complete it, at the very end, it doesn't matter. The moment you say, I am done, you have to have these confirmations, these completed green books on all the 10 modules. And this World Athletics sees. So when then the invitation comes, they will first check, did you pass that online part? If you passed it, you are then eligible to be invited to the residential, to the practical part. Here is a little timetable, as you see, and I just picked 2. So you see here how the course, the 5 days course is based. You see, basically everything is more or less practical oriented. So either planning and David knows, because he did that lecture course where I introduced them into this material of how it is set up. You've got here all, and you've got only these few here yellow, which are the supporting part of the specific theory to the event group. All right. So you see here, basically, if I show you the two different ones, one the timetable of the sprints and one of the combined events, you see they're basically the same. The only thing what changes is that the content is different, because this is combined events, or this is jumps, or this is throws, or this is middle long distance. But basically the frame, the program as such is set up. Okay, here again, the sprints, hurdles, the combined events. So now this is the level 2. In the level 3, we were then thinking, okay, what do really coaches need? Do they need more knowledge? Do they need more understanding of knowledge? Or rather, do they need to understand how and what does it take to move now from basically training into that type of, on me as a coach, what needs to be done? Okay, if I want to break Usain Bolt's 100 meter, I first have to understand the 100 meter, what happened, in these 958 seconds, he covered the 100 meters in order to then understand where is my athlete and where is the gap. So what do I need to do with that athlete, which is still not at the very top, but has the potential, and how do I unlock that potential? So the high performance is basically then this resolving of so-called case studies, because there is no one size fits all. If you look at a long-term, if you look at the development of athletes around the world, and you might be now surprised what I'll be saying, there is no scientific evidence for a long-term athlete's development. But what is, yes, that there is a long-term development, athlete's development, but which is different all around the world. They come from all walks of life. So there is no one way to do it. But I need to understand, if I want to understand how did Usain Bolt get to these 958, I can then understand what has happened. Now, to be very general and a bit sort of, where was his talent? So I can't touch, basically, this is the way he was born. This is his big assets he brought with him into athletics. And then what was done to unlock out of this talent that exceptional sprinter called Usain Bolt and delivered over years high performance. All right, so this is what I need, these case studies, to understand the different ways, that there are different ways to solve it, but I need to understand what challenges, how the challenges overcome, what stopped certain people of maybe not or becoming where they are, and so on and so forth. So you've got here again, we will have a 20-unit online course, which basically summarizes all these case studies. You've got background information about how this philosophy came up, what was the key of that philosophy, why did the coach come to these conclusions and to these decisions to go the way he went, and how does a coaching philosophy of a certain coach happen, and how is it different maybe to another coach who might have been as successful but maybe has gone a completely different way because circumstances forced him. All right. Then you've got a 6-unit pre-online course where you are then basically introduced into this 4-day, 3 or 4 day. We are still struggling. We have, in 3 weeks' time, I'm again in Monaco, and we will be discussing the one or the other part again. So that then in this 3 or 4 day course, they are based on what was on these case studies, on this various ways of resolving problems, on finding solution to the problem. So be part of the solution, not be part of the problem. And then hence that exchange and that broadening of mindset will then get you again as a coach, as a level 3 coach, to maybe be able to solve the situation and the challenges you are facing. So the content will be based on the case studies, on scientific findings, and on the leveraging of the technologies. It means how can the technologies now, which are no doubt part of our world, whether be it artificial intelligence, this is, I just seen you, there's KI, it's AI in English, so it's not in German because that somebody did a mistake or who has written that. So it's AI, artificial intelligence. What do I monitor? If I want to monitor, how can I monitor? How do I know whether I'm on course? How do I know whether whatever I see is basically meeting, for example, biomechanical requirements or physiological requirements? How can I take a decision to understand whether the load wasn't already an overload and I have to be careful, or whether the load is an overload but is a wanted overload with the right recovery following it? It will get the adaptation I'm looking at. All right. So as well, this introduction into this, and then so that adaptation is then the key basically to resolving these problems. And these are various. There is not one way, and there is not one way of doing it. We are not the same, although we are all human beings, but every one of us has his own body, which reacts to stimulus and reacts differently to stimulus. And this is, I think, what is then key. And then again, this role of the coach, which with working on high performance athletes is different than the pure coaching I have maybe with the under 20, or even if I go to the level 1 with the under 16, under 14, where the introduction comes into athletics, they are different calibers. Okay, I guess that somebody like a Usain Bolt, after years of training, has a certain say in what he believes and what he thinks is good in a cooperation with his coach, in a cooperation and communication system, which is different than with smaller or younger athletes. So here is basically the overview, but this program of the level 3, as I said, is about, I am in the event group sprints and hurdles where I am basically involved as an editor, is coming to basically we have most of it. So we might be doing the first pilot course next year. Where and when is still not fixed, because we are still having some other parts which we need to first finalize in order then to test them whether they are valid on the ground. All right, so this change, shifting from Monaco to the areas, is now based on cooperation of these areas and their member federations. So they are closer than Monaco, not only distance-wise, but as well from a pure effective way, right? In Monaco, they are sitting, and basically it's an administration office, whereas I believe that, that is how I see it, the areas are closer to their federations and can quicker react to needs. For this is why I was in the Caribbean area, in the NACAT area, and David and Roy were part of these new lectures, which we have trained for the level 2, because now the areas can run these courses. And what might be new as well, that now these courses can all be run as well locally. That means Jamaica can run its own level 2, doesn't need anymore the area development center or the then 30 years ago, 25 years ago called regional development center anymore. They just need them again, like Monaco, like an office of administration, so that then Monaco knows, oh yeah, in Jamaica, a level 2 is planned in sprints and hurdles. The lectures are blah, blah, blah. They've got these 10, 12, 15 coaches, and what is then even better, you can now educate quicker, more coaches, whereas when you had the invitations from the RDCs, normally, because you invite basically the whole region, the IDC would have been responsible. You cannot take 50 people, so you are limited to 15. So you can maximum take 2, from other countries 1. So what about the other 8 or 10, which might be as well waiting to do that level 2? They have to wait for the next opportunity. Here now you can decide yourself when and how many courses you need. These new technologies, which provide chances, but at the same time might be a problem, right? Dr. Google gives you a lot of information. Are you able to filter that information? Or is it nonsense what you are reading and what you're seeing? You allow me that comment now. It's interesting how many experts all of a sudden pop up in that world who have something to say and put things together and make you believe that this is the latest, when we know it already since 40 years. It's only now the new technologies which allow me to go public easier and quicker than it used to be 30 or 40
I'm
years
not hearing
ago.
anything, you know.
Sorry? Am I still, can I still
We're hearing you, Ralph, we're hearing you.
Okay. So the how do I learn is again something which again we hope that has changed, that as adults, as coaches which are already on a certain level, we learn differently. We have different things. So the curriculum is basically reflecting these changes and how we can unlock the potential of our coaches quicker, faster, and give them the opportunity again to mature into what they're doing and achieve the results. So to summarize it on the existing is to understanding the why. This is important and not. So understanding the why and not dumping knowledge. the application of that why, and then help develop that own coaching philosophy. These are the main changes which we have undergone in the level 2 and into the level 3, so that then hopefully we are giving you information, we are giving you the chance to quicker develop and be able to deliver at the level you are basically meant to deliver. Okay, I think this overview gave you, hopefully, it's brief, yes, but gave you a little bit of an understanding about where we're going and into what direction we're going and where the responsibilities lie now. David, up to you again.
All right, thank you, Ralph, for that. And we're very excited about what the prospects are with the move to have the local member federations being able to conduct these level 2 courses, which will really help to improve the application and the development of the athletes in our care. So thank you, Ralph. And of course, we'll allow for the questions right after. So let me just jump into the last part of our meeting today, just to give you an idea as to what's next for us based on what Ralph has said, and also based on what Mr. Gale had said in his open remarks. Starting January 1st, 2025, all coaches in Jamaica will begin to practice on a license issued by the JATAFCA and the Jamaican T&F Coaches Association. And we're having this forum tonight to alert individuals of what is to come. The license will be valid for 2 years, and the license renewal will require proof of 15 to 20 hours of continuous education earned from attending various workshops and seminars.
David, can I quickly interrupt you?
Sure.
Because you said something important I forgot to say as well, is that from now on as well, all certifications of World Athletics are not valid for a lifetime anymore. So that means they will need to be renewed after 2 years in order to maintain their validity. This is something, again, which was not in the past. A coach which had done a course basically had that certificate for lifetime without having to renew that license or that certificate. So this is important. So it's not something which Jamaica invented shortly to make life difficult for coaches. Is because as well it's part of the requirements to keep that continuous professional development going, so that then you're always up to date, and hence your coaching license is still valid.
Okay, thank you for that. So the 15 to 20 hours are to be earned over 2 years, and this is from attending workshops, technical or ethics-based courses, seminars, etc. These would include seminars put on by JADCO, JATAFCA, JATAFCA, World Athletics courses, Jamaica Association of Sports Medicine, Ministry of Health, or you might attend any other international member federation approved course. It might be USATF or some other course that you would have done somewhere. During the period, you'd have to submit evidence of those, and then you get the continuous education hours. As a matter of fact, UE, Department of Sports, is hosting a symposium tomorrow. I think it's a 2-day, Friday and Saturday. And over those 2 days, you could literally attend that, and that will give you up to 6 CE hours. This particular meeting that we're on is valid 2 CE hours. So between attending this particular forum tonight and attending the UA Sports Medicine Symposium, already you would have gone 8 continuous education hours. So all persons on this meeting tonight would have earned their 2 hours, and we have the evidence because you would have signed in and you would have used your credentials to get in, and so that's how we'll actually track that. So the 2 parts, one set of persons, those who would have gotten certification prior to now through IAF, I've spoke about those, anywhere from level 1 to level 5, and then you have coaches without certification. And it's really bringing those 2 under the same umbrella for us to get the new system up and running. So for persons who have received previous certification, we're not requiring you to go back and do over the courses. Certification is one thing, licensing and continuous education is another component. So what you will have to do is to create an account on the World Athletics e-learning platform, and at the back end, we'll try and link your previous certification with your new account. Of course, it is possible that the email addresses are different, and the new system is actually heavily weighted on the email address. So that is how that will work. You go in and you create an account on that platform, and after you create the account, you have to at least do the safeguarding module, and this is for persons who have existing certification from World Athletics. You have to complete the safeguarding module, and you download that certificate and send it to JATFcoaches@gmail.com. So after you have, of course, when you log in, you'll see the safeguarding module here. That's a module that you would complete as part of those steps. Then, of course, you would have to also pay your licensing fee to be able to receive the license, and you pay for 2 years. And if you delay, it just gets more and more expensive to do that. Pretty much what we want persons to do is to get their license at the first instance and first opportunity, and the longer you wait, is the more expensive it becomes for you for that period. So those persons have to complete that process by the 1st of February 2025 and pay their $3,000. That will be for 2 years. If you wait until the end of March, it's $4,000, and up to June, it is $6,000. The second group, of course, would be those who have not received any certification. So if you're new or you don't have any certification, you go on, you create an account. Similarly, be consistent with the email address that you're using. You complete the level 1 or level 2 course, and you download the certificate, and you go to the Jamaica T&F Coaches Association website to upload the information and choose an assessment date. So when you log into the portal, the e-learning platform, you see the coaches courses there, and you access that. Of course, on that same e-learning platform, there's quite a bit of all the courses that are administered by World Athletics are there. So you have the technical officials courses, the administrator, all those are there, but you would access the coaches course. Then when you get in that section, of course, you see the level 1 and level 2. Level 2 will become visible to you only after you have been approved of a level 2 first, right, Ralph? I think he's trying to unmute. Hold on.
Ralph is muted.
Now I can unmute myself. Yes, it's correct. Yeah, it was correct what you said.
After that, now you might have seen, and Ralph spoke about this as well, the practical component. We're not using the mentor program in Jamaica. We are requiring for the individual to actually attend an assessment. So when you might see this information be circulated, general information about completing the online component, and then you take this to a mentor and somebody signs it and say, yes, you are certified. No, it's not going to work like that in Jamaica. You will have to attend the assessment where you'll be further assessed, and then after which we'll submit that information to World Athletics. The third step would be the same graduated payment for your license. Within 1 month of your assessment, you pay $3,000. It's 3 months, it's $4,000. And if you wait 6 months, you pay $6,000. And the proof of the license, proof of period, and email to you. So regardless of which
Can I just add something?
Sure.
Which is maybe very important as well, because from previous discussions and from previous similar presentations we did, for the coaches to understand, as David has said it, this is now up to the federation, to the coaches system which you've got and licensing you've got in Jamaica. They have decided, as he said, to do that practical part, right? The way he expressed it. So there is no need for the coaches to go and then complain at World Athletics. There's nothing to complain. This is the prerogative of Jamaica to say this is how we would like to run it, and it's their right to do it that way. So there is no need to go and then start threatening the federation that you will be writing to World Athletics, whatever it is. Be assured that nobody will attend this request, because it is correct what has been done, because this is, as I said previously, it's to the prerogative of the federation of the country to decide how they want to set up their licensing system.
All right. So thank you, Ralph. For both scenarios, whether you've received certification before or you have no certification, it is very important to understand that certification is different from licensing. So an individual might be certified, but not necessarily licensed to practice. Licensing requires for compliance in terms of the continuous education and the payment of the fees in order for the person to be licensed. And that's very important. Certification is required, but you must make sure that you are not just certified, but you're also licensed. Yeah. And I must add that we're a bit behind some of the other sports locally, and in terms of licensing and certification and some of the other professions as well. And we're really trying to make the coaching as a viable profession and help it to become more professionalized so that we can have a better system and better benefits for coaches in general. Interestingly, is that not in 2025, but in 2026, the licensing renewal will require a police record. So this means that everyone who will renew their license in 2027 will be required a police record. And right now, some institutions in Jamaica require this of teachers who are in certain position, that they must have submit a police record in order for their license to be renewed. So this is something going to be in effect in 2026. I think in Ralph's case, you have to submit what is it called? You have to submit something as well for your own certification. You know, right?
Submit in what sense?
It's not a police record that you have to submit, but you have to submit.
Oh, yes. In Germany as well. In Germany, you have to do it yearly even. You have to, every year, you have to submit this, so you called it police record. That means that you are bona fide and that you are, not chased by any juristical whatever cases for whatever you have done or not done.
Okay. All right, so this is not anything new. It's really part of helping to professionalize this work. So moving forward, we are adding functionality to the Coaches Association website, JATAFCA.org, and we are actually in the process of reconstituting the disciplinary committee, which will handle issues and appeals, especially in this case where an individual might be denied renewal of their license, a process of hearing and allowing that person to appeal a decision to not renew their license. Those are things that we have to put in place as well in the back end to help with the overall process. So those are important part of what we're doing. Those are all the things I want to share, and at this time I want to open up for questions. So we're going to ask you, if you have a question, to raise your hand, the virtual hand raising feature in Zoom, or if you want to type a question in the chat, and we will address those, and we'll take the questions from persons in the order that we receive them. So if you have a question based on all that has been said so far, ask your question now.
David, I can maybe answer already one question which is there in the chat. Is this equivalency of other educational programs, like a degree, written here, a degree from GC Foster? I don't know what this is, but
the sports college.
You guys might know. So again, here it's up to the federation, knowing now the content, knowing whatever level 1, level 2, level 3 is up to. You can then say, for us, this degree is equivalent to a level 3, and then you can ask for that equivalency and then get from World Athletics either a confirmation, or they will say for this equivalency you would still need to do whatever this or that module, whatever it is. You see what I'm trying to say? So that then it is then valid. The other possibility which you could do, and as I said, I don't know this program, but for example, this is as well done in some countries, is that they basically cooperate with universities, with tertiary educational systems, and introduce the level 1 as part of their teaching. So that means when you finish a certain module, when you finish a certain phase of your education, and then they can say you go into if you do then the level 1 online, then even with the practical part, which is blah 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 blah, you can then get parallel to your certification a level 1, for example. See, but then you will have to go to that practical part, which is offered as described and as mentioned now more than once, and then you would have basically with these studies, with this degree, you would automatically have your level 1 as a parallel education. So there is many ways to do it, and this is why areas to decide how they want to set up this whole coaches education and licensing system.
All right, so Ralph, there's a question asked here that what if you have certification outside of World Athletics, can you still be licensed? No, of course, certification is still required for an individual to get certification through World Athletics as well. All right?
Yeah.
All right, so you still would have to get certification through World Athletics. So you still want to do that. Remember, there's no ceiling in terms of what level of certification you can obtain, but you still need to get the World Athletics certification, and then of course you submit that as part of your requirement for licensing. Now, I noticed quite a few questions about the equivalency, and we would have to work out some of those equivalencies to see what would the individual have in terms of an equivalent qualification to then move to just being licensed as opposed to need the certification in addition or prior to licensing. So that's something that we'll have to explore.
Yes, absolutely. Because now here the USTA FCA is mentioned. This depends now how, for example, in the United States, what agreement or what did they decide and how did they want to cooperate with World Athletics in order to integrate their system and World Athletics, so that then when you do, for example, your level 2 in the United States, what is it worth if you would convert it into a World Athletics? So, and to my knowledge is for example, Altis offers certain courses which are then as well, they know already the equivalency to tell you, okay, if you do this, whatever that course, if you do this, blah, 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 whatever it is, that then this is worth, or this is equivalent to, and then this would be then sent to World Athletics, and then you would get basically this parallel certification. So this is up to the regions, it's up to the countries, how they want to cooperate and whether they want to cooperate with World Athletics. This is another thing, is for example, you have countries which have their own system like the United States, like many countries in Europe who have a structured system already in place, and might tell you, well, we are not interested to have any equivalency. So if our coaches want a World Athletics certificate, let them go through the normal World Athletics courses, but we are not seeking for equivalency, for example. This is up to the countries. Again, you cannot force anybody to do anything. The program, as I said, has emerged and has developed because of, first of all, those countries who do not have a system in place, in order to make it easier to them, so that they've got now a certified system in place instead of having nothing. So that is the initial idea of this World Athletics certification. It's not to be in competition with any other country and to tell you we've got that system which is better than yours or vice versa. So again, you will have to take it a bit from a broader aspect.
Right. So we still have to work with the equivalency issues. But what I do understand though, coaches who do not have World Athletics certification cannot be named as a coach to any national team going to a World Athletics competition. So there would be some roadblock there if the individual does not have the appropriate certification through World Athletics. So that might be where the issue is for that individual who might be doing very good work, but who wouldn't be able to submit the name for a national team selection. So that's something that we'd have to consider. But we're going to look at the equivalencies for some of those programs. But I did hear Ralph mention that Altis would already have specified what the equivalency is for their various programs. So maybe we could also get that information based on those persons who might have taken those courses. You would know already what the equivalency is to World Athletics. Another question here. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So no, because there's a question as well as again here. It answers always the same, or it goes always to the same. I have a whatever. What is it worthwhile? So I said again, these equivalencies are depending on the content. When you do equivalencies, that means you have to be sure that the content delivered wherever you took it, plus the content which is delivered by World Athletics, do they match? So sometimes modules are missing, sometimes nothing is missing, sometimes even the education system which you have undergone is way ahead of whatever it is. So this cannot be answered easily like this. So you have to look into it. That means there is a commission, there is the person, department which looks into it and says, okay, this equivalency is worth whatever level or that. Okay, so this is very important. And then certificates which you achieve, or certificates which you achieve through the system, World Athletics, is sent to you again once everything has been checked. Then you will get the certificate sent by World Athletics. So it's not anybody issuing you that certificate except World Athletics via, this is why you need your email address, and it will be sent to you, and only you can download that certificate. Nobody else can download that certificate. So that then you've got that certificate, and then it's then your job, your duty to go and send that certificate to the coaches association or to the federation to show them that I've got a valid certificate issued by World Athletics, so that then they can take you into the database. All right, so this is extremely important to understand, so that then things do not go wrong.
All right, another question in the chat. What do I need to do to be certified as a coach from your organization that I take it to be JATAFCA, and where is this being offered? Okay, so the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association is not doing any certification. All we're doing, partnering with J3 to issue a license based on your certification you would have received through World Athletics. So that's how that actually works. So we're just doing the licensing and managing that process. Another question, so if I have...
Yeah, but what I forgot to say now, but like I'm reading permanently through this, is again, what the new system allows you, what was not in the past. Because there is here the question, I've got a certification from USA Track and Field. It is, again, you can at any time, if the federation, if the coaches association who might be running that coaches education in the country, you can anytime join without having done the previous level. That means I can enter the level 2 without having done the level 1. But then again, it is the prerogative of the country to say, do you allow this? Can you do this? Because they recognize your previous education or your degree or whatever you've got, so that then they say you don't need to do level 1, you can straight away go into the level 2. This was previously not possible, but this becomes now possible with the sanction of the federation or the coaches or the coaches association, which is maybe in charge to run the coaches education in the country.
You are the child and you want to say the mother and I can't.
All right, is there a platform where I can access the IF certificate if you have already downloaded it? IF certificate, we already have a list of all coaches in Jamaica who are certified, regardless of what level of certification they have. That information is going to be posted on the website. You can search to find out what level of certification you have. So before the end of November, the functionality should be on the website, and those persons are the ones who would qualify for the bypass, so to speak, where they only need to do the safeguarding module on the e-learning platform in order for them to receive their license starting January 1st. So you don't have to necessarily download that certificate unless you want it for keeps. But we know all the persons who have over the years received certification through World Athletics. What time will the seminar at you be held tomorrow? I think it's from 8:30 a.m. and it's online. It's an online seminar, so you could get that info. I'm not sure if I have it. I can post it. But yeah, it's by the UAE Department of Sports. So it should be on their website. Another question, what are the ramifications for active coaches that don't have a license? All right, so remember the first slide that I posted was that starting January 1st, coaches will be required to have a license to operate as a coach in Jamaica, all right? And that's what the situation is. Now, if an individual wants to hire someone who doesn't have a license, that's their business. Can't imagine any profession where you don't have a license and you're hired. So I think it's for the coaches to understand where the sport is moving to and make sure that they get the licensing. And active coaches, you're talking about persons who might not have already done one of the levels. It's very easy to do, and we do have the assessment coming up in November, and there's one in February as well. November 15th in Kingston, and I think it's February 6th in Montego Bay. So in either case, there's quite a bit of opportunities to regularize one's situation with minimal effort, right? And so we're hoping that coaches will make use of the time and the access that they have to get it done. And the information, go ahead.
There is one question here. Again, for people or for coaches who have done their certification ages ago. That means like here I've got, it says here, I have my level 1, which was done 10 years ago. Like in any educational system, there's always a transition time. There's no doubt. Before you 10 years ago, you did your level 1 and there was no other whatever restriction or whatever you call it to it. That means if you want to go now your level 2, you can go for your level 2 again. It's up to the association. It's up to in this case maybe to the coaches association, which is managing in Jamaica the whole educational system and licensing system, to accept basically that you then go straight into the level 2 when it is offered in your country or wherever. To basically give you that okay, because in the transition times is again you will not do again in level 1. Why do you want to do a next level 1 again to get the eligibility? That means you've got your level 1, but from now on, with all what was said through David as well, you will have to slowly integrate into the system. That means once you get then to do your level 2, which will be this new level 2, you are then bound to all the terms and conditions which David mentioned.
All right, so let me just run that through again. Level 1 will be November 15th. That's the assessment. So you need to complete the online before November 15th. And already, as Garth had mentioned, over 100 coaches have already done the online for level 1, but have not gone to do their assessment. Right, so only 26 persons have done the assessment. So the others already passed the online, can proceed to sign up for the assessment, which is November 15th if you're in Kingston, and February 7th if you're in Montego Bay and you want to just wait until you get to Montego Bay. The level 2, we're hoping, with Ralph's blessings as well, hoping to do a level 2 in December. December 16th to 21st. Those are the proposed dates for that. And that will be level 2 for sprints and hurdles and jumps in Kingston. Chantelope, Davian, you have your hand raised. Please go ahead, unmute.
Yes, sir. Good night, Mr. Riley and everyone else. You hearing me?
Yes, we're hearing you.
Okay. There was a typing error with the question I asked. It was supposed to be download. What I'm asking is, I already did the level 1. However, at the time I received a certificate But because of moving around, I can't find that certificate. Is there a platform I can go on to really access back that certificate? That's what I was asking.
Well, I actually understood that to be part of your question. I don't know. Maybe Ralph, can you generate a certificate for him, or is that something that is that possible?
The certificates, how they are generated?
No, he lost his and he wants a replacement certificate.
Again, I did not get that properly. I don't know why it's interrupting. Can you please
He
repeat the
wants
question?
a replacement certificate for his level 1 that he did many years ago.
Why replacement?
He wants the paper because he had it, but he
Oh,
can't.
you lost it or whatever.
Yes.
He lost it. Well, that's yeah. Well, then you will have to write an email to World Athletics, or you can do this, David, in
Yeah,
saying that one of your coaches has unfortunately misplaced,
right.
to be diplomatic, misplaced his certificate, is not finding it and needs it. And normally you've got your coaching number.
Right.
So with the name and the coaching number, I believe that is not. I'm telling you this, but I think that how it will be done. Then the office in Monaco will reissue that certificate, so that then you've got the replacement of your certificate.
Okay. All right. So, Chancellor, if you can contact me in that regard. Another question here from Parchment: can the information for the registration on World Athletics be shared in other groups? Yes, you can go ahead and share that information. We want as many coaches to know. What I don't want persons to do is to share just the link. The entire document that we've released is what you need to share so that persons can understand the overall process rather than just have a link and not sure what the link or what the other steps are within the process. So share the document, the release that went out from the Coaches Association a couple weeks ago, outlining the process that needs to be shared. Question here from Ford: I came on late. For clarity, are you saying that the intent going forward is for there to be a licensing of coaches by JATAFCA? The coaches in Jamaica will be licensed by J3 and JATAFCA starting January 1st.
And then there's a question here again from Floyd Corey about when these assessments of equivalency happen. These are basically ongoing processes. That means because it's, as I said, it's the system is now new. David, maybe if you've got some of these, I can, and you forward them to me, I can see how I can help you guys to get as well World Athletics to understand how, for example, that very specific education or whatever, which is can be where the equivalency can be done and whether equivalency can be done. So to help you to shortcut that process.
Okay. I see a question here from Alex Morgan: will coaches not certified be barred from coaching at all meets? All right. So Alex, we understand fully well the unique situation in Jamaica. Lots of persons are coaching that have little or no certification. We understand the persons are getting results even without any certification. We understand these things. We're not moving in any direction to bar anyone from coaching. I don't want people to leave here thinking that this is some high-handed, heavy-handed attempt to prevent coaches from functioning. This is not the case. We have some serious issues within the coaching fraternity that will only be fixed from a process of requiring persons to be engaged in continuous education and for persons to receive licenses, that an individual who might not be operating based on what we want as a profession, that person may lose their license. And this is all part of protecting the entire profession, all coaches. You don't want a situation where coaches in general are labeled because of the behavior of one or two persons. And that's something that is a serious and real danger and something that we have to be facing right now. So it's not to bar coaches, but we want coaches to voluntarily comply so that the whole process will move forward. No, it's not going to be like that for an extended period of time. So the notice is being given, and remember, we're gradually rolling things out, because at the highest level, you won't be able to function as a coach or be recognized as a coach by World Athletics without the certification anyway. So there is no point in an individual saying that they're a coach, receiving compensation as a coach, and have no intention or desire to be professional about it and to regularize his or her involvement in this work. So that's how I'd like for you to understand it, and for you to know what we're trying to do. It's really to help to protect everyone.
David, maybe what could be added to what you said as well is, if you want the coaching to become a profession, that meaning that you can justify it, say, my profession is a coach, then it's logic and self-explanatory that there must be some references, there must be somewhere. You cannot become a doctor because you decided today to come to be a doctor and start operating from tomorrow without having had any education or any. So you see what I'm trying to say? A pilot in an airline has to go every month into the simulator, despite that he flies the plane every day. Still has to go once per month into the simulator to maintain, so to speak, his ability or his skills in flying. And so we are only in coaching, we have let it go, so to speak. And now with the professionalization, well, that's a normal, how to say, requirement, or it's a normal process to do that. Now you start to streamline a little bit who is a coach, is it a profession, and this is why you can then make money, you can get contracts, you can blah 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 blah, whatever it is. So I see this as a normal process, and not as David said, it's not to punish anybody or to whatever, ridiculous anybody. It's just to set up proper guidelines and a proper structure so that finally we can get recognized as coaches worldwide and do not have to permanently justify why we are doing what we are doing.
All right, so I see a question here from Tamara Gale. And I want to, I'm not sure if he was here from the start, but I want to underscore that certification is different from licensing. All right, so certification, and persons have been asking about equivalency with other courses that they've done, the World Athletics courses, and that's, we've already established it. We have to continue that conversation and the discussion, and we have to look into that. But irrespective of what certification the individual has, if you have prior certification from World Athletics, the licensing is a requirement going forward. So we want to make sure persons fully understand the difference between the two and the importance of not so much focusing on just the certification, but also on the need to be licensed, and then you're complying with the requirements of the license, right?
David, and there's a question here, the relationship between IAAF and World Athletics. I thought I had mentioned it. IAAF has changed its name in 2015 when Sebastian Coe became president for several reasons. So they wanted to basically relabel themselves, and this is why IAAF, which was the International Association of Athletic Federations, changed its name to World Athletics. So it's the same organization, just under a different label, under a different name, because they had reasons to change that. So it's nothing new, it's not a new organization, it's the same, which has only relabeled. And since Sebastian Coe took over, and This is why now it's called World Athletics, which was then up to 2015 IWF.
All right, so I've seen two questions, related questions about the level 2 online modules not being visible. All right, so let me just restate that the level 2 modules are not going to be visible in your profile until you are approved for the level 2. All right, so when the level 2 is announced, the individuals, we have to submit the information, and those individuals are then approved, and then those specific persons will see the modules in their profile. That would be maybe about 3 or so weeks from the date of the course for the individual to access and do that content. And then, of course, you have to pass that in order to be accepted in the course. So we'll send out that information sometime next week in terms of the application for persons for the level 2, and then that process will go on.
And then there's a question whether persons with disability can engage. Certainly you can engage in such programs. Normally, I don't know how it is in Jamaica, but the para movement, that means the para organizations and the abled and disabled organizations normally work together. In some countries, it's the same education system. In others, like in Germany, for example, they've got a separate as well. So they go to the normal system which is existing. Plus, then there is some modules which the para organization then offers with the specificities of the disabilities, because as you might know, there's these categories. You have to be categorized, and this is not easy to understand. So they add up on it. So certainly anyone can undergo the normal coaches education. Don't misunderstand me, please, when I say normal. The coaches education, whether with or without disabilities, that makes no difference. But as I said, in Germany, the Disability Federation has done extra modules to understand these categorizations and whatever it is.
All right, so again, a question about persons having a first degree from GC Foster and not have a license to coach. You know, even as we think through the equivalences, it wouldn't hurt if someone just go online and do the level 1 and get the certification and then use that as part of the licensing. It probably would be faster. The level 1 is self-driven, and it's certainly, if you're a practicing coach, it wouldn't be too much either, right? So that's one of the answers to that question as we look at the issue of equivalency, which is going to take some time to get that sorted out. Another question about level 2, whether it's no on the platform, it won't be visible until you're approved for the level 2. Similar question. Okay. What degree will my personal life jeopardize my professional license? And will this be clearly conveyed as to what will constitute a violation? Yeah, I mean, we'll outline those things. I think already there are some issues and some guidelines from the standpoint of the code of conduct of coaches. So the code of conduct can now be downloaded from the Coaches Association website, and it has in there quite a bit that the coaches would need to adhere to professionally in order for them to remain a member of the Jamaican T&F Coaches Association. So some of that would would affect it as well. But in every profession, there are persons who, lawyers, persons get disbarred from practicing because of things that they would have done. So your behavior as a coach would affect or could affect your ability to receive a license. That is not unusual. The link for the level 1, it's on the e-learning platform for World Athletics, e-learning.worldathletics.org. That's the website. That's also in the circulation, the information that was sent out as well. If you're not on our mailing list, it means that you might not be a member. You need to register, be a member, and you get all the information sent email. And if you're in the usual coaches group, it's Intercall and others, you would have received that information as well. Will your presentation be shared for persons who were late? We could upload it to the Coaches Association YouTube channel, and we'll send all that information as well. Maybe added to JATAFCA communication. Hugh, it's easier if you're a member, so go ahead and sign up on the website and get that information in the database, and then of course all persons in the database receive the information. Our database basically set for level 2, which will be for 5 days. All right, so the logistics, it's the coaching level 2 may not be a residential course. We'll outline that at some point. It might not be residential. So the individual might have to sort out their own accommodation for that particular course in December. But we'll share the information this week. Right? Next week, sorry. I think those are all the questions. No hands are raised. Any more questions from persons? Well, it's pretty early in the morning for you, Ralph.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's our pleasure having you, and we thank you for your insight and the information that you have shared with us. And certainly the coaches are well more aware of what the situation is and what they need to do and the next steps to be taken. So we appreciate you. And I don't know if we should apologize for keeping you up this late.
No worries, there's nothing to apologize. It's all okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Anytime, if you need anything through you, they can get in touch, whatever. And if I can help, it is my pleasure.
All right, good. Well, thank you. And on behalf of the Jamaica Track and Field Coaches Association and the J3, I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight and participating, whether passively or actively, in the discussion for us to have had such a great time. And of course, we look forward to continuing interaction and for us to work together as an association to improve the lot and stock of the profession that we are so involved in and committed to growing. So thank you again, and all the best. Have a great evening.
Bye-bye.